Okay, let's just say it from the start. Doctor Doom is one of the best characters in comics, and he could be our next Thanos. Only Doctor Doom could turn out to be so much better than the balance-obsessed Titan. So I'm gonna explain why Doom is so great and how his relationship with Black Panther is going to be the focus of the MCU. And of course, how all of that could give us one of the best villains ever. So Doctor Doom is essentially Marvel's Darth Vader. And like Lord Vader, Doom could easily become one of the greatest villains in movie history. The first 3 MCU phases always built toward Thanos and the Infinity Stones. And starting with Phase 4, I think the same should happen with Doctor Doom. Black Panther 2 should be the movie that fully establishes Doom as the villain of the next saga. Marvel should establish a long rivalry between T'Challa and Doom. Their relationship could kind of parallel the relationship between Iron Man and Captain America. And yeah, I know that technically Black Panther 2 is a Phase 5 movie, but with COVID-19, who knows how the MCU movie slate will change? Maybe Doom could be teased in another Phase 4 movie, like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, before making his official appearance in Black Panther 2. The key thing is to develop Doom's character throughout multiple movies and build him up from Phase 4 all the way to the climax of Phase 6. I personally think that Secret Wars should be the culmination for Phase 6. It's the perfect next story for the MCU, and it's clear that there are already plans in place to make it happen. I won't go into Secret Wars in this video since we did a video about it fairly recently, so please feel free to check it out. It talks a lot about how Secret Wars could work in the MCU and the role that Doom could play in that movie. I think we all know the reason why villains like Thanos, Killmonger, and Loki are so great, and why most people can't even remember the names of these evil bad guys. The best villains are the ones who have compelling motivations that make sense. They have interesting arcs and development of their own, and they're not just there to move the plot along. A great villain is someone who can challenge the hero's ideals and choices. And Doom is pretty much the definition of the perfect villain. Sure, there's Galactus and Kang and Magneto and more, and all of these villains should be used for sure, but Doom will be the one that everything leads to. Doom is kind of like Batman. He traveled the world, learned every skill there is to learn, and he is one of the smartest people in the world. With that big brain of his, Doom was able to create some really amazing technology, stuff that puts Iron Man to shame. But Doom is also an extremely powerful magic user. Doom's magic is so strong that he could even rival Doctor Strange himself. By merging technology, magic, and his brilliance, Doom has become one of the most powerful beings in the universe. But having ultimate power isn't what makes Doom such an interesting character. The best thing about Doom is that he believes that he is the one that should rule the world. But not because of some narcissistic obsession or delusions of grandeur. Doom wants to rule the world because he believes he is the only one that has the skills and the power to make it a better place. Doom's vision for a better world isn't some grim and gray world. He wants a world that thrives, a perfect utopia. The only caveat is that he must be the one that rules, no one else. And it was hinted in the comics that the world would be a much safer and prosperous place under Doom's rule. Doom was able to turn his nation of Latveria into one of the greatest places on Earth. Considering Doom's ambition to rule the world and make it a better place, it'll be interesting to see his reaction to the events of the first 3 phases. Maybe all of the stuff that happened will be the things that drive Doom to action. And this could offer such an intriguing clash with the heroes. But come to think of it, Doom's arc in the MCU could be somewhat similar to Iron Man's. Remember all of the things Tony did because of his obsession to save the world? Well, that's kind of how it could work with Doom. But Doctor Doom has more personal motivation than ruling the world. Doom is obsessed with achieving ultimate power, but not just for the sake of having it. Deep down, Doom just wants to save his mother's soul. Cynthia Von Doom sold her soul to Mephisto. Much of Doom's ambitions revolve around gaining the power to confront Mephisto and save his mother. Dr. Doom is someone who reacts in the most extreme way when he's feeling threatened. He must destroy anyone and anything that could harm him or Latveria. And now that the whole world knows about the true nature of Wakanda and their seemingly endless vibranium, you can bet that Doom will see Wakanda as a major threat. Also, maybe we can have some connection to Sokovia. Now, I don't want Sokovia to become Latveria. The two fictional countries are located around pretty much the same area, but they shouldn't be the same place. Considering the fact that Sokovia was pretty much destroyed by Ultron and Vibranium, maybe this will be the reason why Doom goes after Wakanda. He will see the worst possible outcome of what happens if the Vibranium falls into the wrong hands. And yeah, I know that Namor is likely going to be the villain of Black Panther 2, as was hinted in Endgame, but Namor isn't exactly a villain, he's more of an anti-hero. He's a total hothead that will go to war over the smallest thing, and I think Doom will use that, seeing both Wakanda and Atlantis as threats that must be destroyed. Doom will work from the shadows and instigate a war between Wakanda and Atlantis. This way, he could cripple both kingdoms. In the comics, Doom's nemesis is Reed Richards, but it's unlikely the same will happen in the MCU. Don't get me wrong, the Fantastic Four are great, and I can't wait to see them done right in the MCU. But it's pretty obvious that Marvel is building Black Panther as the next Iron Man and Captain America type of main character. The one hero who will be the center of things in the MCU. And by the time we get to Phase 6, Chadwick Boseman will play T'Challa for about 15 years. Meanwhile, the Fantastic Four will likely join the MCU only in late Phase 5 or even in Phase 6. Since Black Panther will be the next main character of the next MCU saga, I think it will be smart to set him up as the opposition to Dr. Doom. Of course, it will be a shame not to see the relationship between Doom and Mr. Fantastic, but this won't be the first time where Marvel Studios changes things from the comics to fit better to their stories and continuity. Besides, all the previous Fantastic Four movies had Doom as the main villain. It's time for a change. Let the Fantastic Four clash with some new villains like Kang or Annihilus. There are so many interesting parallels between Black Panther and Dr. Doom. It'll be fascinating to see Doom challenge Black Panther as a leader and a hero. T'Challa will have his hands full as he'll try to balance being the king of Wakanda and the new leader of the Avengers. That's a lot of responsibility, and T'Challa will likely face some hard decisions along the way. And that is where Doom could come in. While Doom is a monarch who expects absolute loyalty from his subjects, he himself is very loyal to his people. He truly cares for his nation, and he will do anything to protect them. It will be so interesting to see these two interact with each other. Both rulers who are sure that they're doing what's best for the world. Just imagine the great ideological clashes we could get. I also think that it will be great to see Doom and T'Challa become reluctant allies, like when Galactus comes to Earth for his feeding time. It will be so awesome to see Doom and Black Panther putting their differences aside and team up to figure out a way to stop Galactus. And that's why Doom is so great. He isn't your typical villain. He has a sense of honor, and in the end, it's about making the world a better place. This is why he will team up with other heroes and even clash with other villains. With Black Panther 2 establishing Doom's rivalry with T'Challa, Marvel can then build Doom up as the new Thanos, the villain who is always somehow involved with everything that happens on Earth. Doom could clash with different heroes and villains along the way, as all roads will lead to Phase 6, where hopefully we will end things with Secret Wars. But the thing about Doom is that unlike Thanos, he doesn't have to die after his endgame. I think it'll be interesting to see Doom's story continue beyond Phase 6. Maybe after Secret Wars, we can focus more on Doom's clash with the Fantastic Four, since Black Panther's story will likely end after Phase 6. Also, I personally wouldn't be against a Dr. Doom solo movie or a Disney Plus show. The guy deserves it for sure.
I agree.
Despite all of his powers, he is still a human being. He still makes human mistakes, and that is the thing that makes him so compelling. Can you really hate a guy who wants to save his mom and make the world a better place? Doom's first attempt to confront Mephisto blew up in his face, literally, and his face was completely disfigured. Victor was so ashamed of his face that he kept it hidden at all times. It's only in 2015's Secret Wars where we finally saw Doom's face.
You are horrifying to look at.
His downfall usually comes from his extreme arrogance and inability to admit or deal with his own failures. He is so obsessed that he can never stop and think about his own mistakes. This is his main weakness, and many times it causes him to do some pretty terrible things, like sacrificing his childhood lover to gain more power.
That's gross.
The bottom line is that there is pretty much anything they could do with Dr. Doom. There is a reason why he is such a beloved character in the comics, and if he'll be done right, I think he'll not only be a better villain than Thanos, but he could go down as one of the best villains in cinema history. So do you think that Doctor Doom should be the next big bad? Which movie should introduce him in the MCU? Let me know. And if you like this video, I would really appreciate it if you hit that like button and make sure to subscribe to CBR for more cool videos. See you next time, and thanks for watching.